apocalypse.
So if you can even take me seriously while I have this stuff all over my face and body, I want to tell you a little bit about this video. As you can see, this is a zombie bride. I wanted to do something a little bit different with this video because a lot of videos I use a lot of special effects makeup that might not be that easy to find. So this entire tutorial is using all drugstore makeup, some of the things you might already have in your makeup collection. So I thought that I would do a video like that just in case you have a last minute Halloween look that you want to do or you're not really sure what to be. This is super easy. If you watch, you practice. I have faith in you that you can do it. So if you are interested in getting this zombie bride using all drugstore makeup, then go ahead and keep watching. We are first going to start by lightening up that face just a little bit because we're just a little too tan to be a zombie bride. I picked up the lightest foundation shade I could find at the drugstore. This is 110 Porcelain from Maybelline. And I'm just buffing it into the skin with this is actually a powder brush from E.L.F, but I love it to put on foundation. So I'm just really buffing into the skin that really light shade, just doing as many layers as I feel fit until I look white enough. Like here I put on quite a bit, but I am going to buff it out. So make sure you're covering any skin that you'll be seeing in your costume. I ended up doing my face, my chest, and my arms just in the front just for this video, but feel free to do your entire body or whatever you'll actually see with your costume. These next two products are also from E.L.F Cosmetics. This is the contour brush as well as the E.L.F eyeshadow palette in matte for Plum. I'm first going to really feel out where I want that contour shade to go, and I'm going to be doing that with just a pencil. You can see I'm just putting it up to my bone and really feeling out where my natural curve is, and that's where I'll put the actual contour shade. I'm going to be using gray for this one, but I normally would put contour shades right here on the sides of my forehead, anywhere where I want the face to look a little bit more chiseled. I typically don't bring my contour down as far as you'll see here. I am going to drag it down all the way down to my chin, and that's again just to really emphasize my cheekbones and it'll look a little bit more hollowed out. So you can see me just bringing down that eyeshadow all the way down to my chin. You'll do the same on both sides and just keep blending it out until you get the desired look. Again, this is super important not to do perfectly, and it's okay if you don't because zombies are not pretty looking things. So just be patient, try it out, and see what you end up coming up with. Continuing on with the theme of contouring, I really wanted to emphasize these bones, my natural bone structure on my chest. So I'm using the E.L.F blending brush and the gray shade from the eyeshadow palette, and I'm just putting that shadow above and below where my natural bone shape is, where their natural shadows would be, and just really emphasizing that, just so they look a little bit more hollowed out, a little bit more dead-like looking, and you'll see I'll just keep making that weird face and trying to poke out my chest so you can see the areas. So now I'm going in to do the eyes again with the eyeshadow palette. The eyeshadow palette is essential for this look. It has all the great shades that you'll need for this look, and it's only a few dollars at your drugstore. So I'm just placing these shades, all of them actually, underneath my eyes. As you could tell, I did not put concealer on because I'm actually trying to make bags under my eyes as opposed to concealing them. So I'm just going in with all three shades here and really just darkening up the under eye area to have that hollowed out, really skeletal, dead look. I went in with a darker shade just in the inner corners, again, just to hollow it out and to give it a little bit more depth. I also felt like the cheeks needed a little bit more depth too, so I went in with that dark shade and that eyeshadow brush and just made it a little bit more intense right over the contour that we did earlier. So this next step is completely optional. I almost didn't even put this in here because it is so simple. All you're going to do is just fill in your eyebrows. I decided to use a pencil from ColourPop, but feel free to use an eyeshadow or not even do this step because do zombies really have nice filled in brows? I don't know. Next, you're going to take a cosmetic sponge and start picking out little holes in it to almost make it look like a piece of Swiss cheese. That's the only thing I could think of what it looks like. But what's cool about this is we're going to be putting on paint, or you, in this situation, maybe using a lipstick from Wet n Wild. And it creates this really cool illusion on your face that looks a little bit like veins. I got this technique from Jordan Hans here on YouTube. I will link her information down below. It's such a cool technique. It's really cool for this look especially. It looks like you have popped blood vessels, and I just really love it. So do this as much all over your body as you want. and then you'll move on to the next step. Also in this video, I want to show you how you can use latex and create special effects, again with household items. So I'm going to show you how you can use duo glue, which is lash glue, which you might already have in your collection. I chose to show you a few things, so I wanted to use Store Liquid Latex. This is just regular latex, but they are the same thing. If you don't need that much latex, you can use your eyelash glue. That's perfectly fine, but for the purposes of this video, I did use the other latex because I showed you quite a few different types. So I'm just placing down with the Cosmetic Sponge a first layer of latex, and then we're going to go in and show you 4 different ways to use latex, all with different textures. The first one is going to be with toilet paper. So I'm just placing a crumpled up little piece of toilet paper on top of a still wet latex layer. We're going to add one more latex layer to it and let it sit. It's all about layers with latex. So we're going to let this sit and move on to the next one, and we'll come back to this in a few. The next one is going to be coffee grinds. So I'm just placing again a couple of layers, making sure they're still tacky, going in with love this best eaten coffee, so good. Taking it just on my hand, making sure that that latex is still sticky, and just really pushing it into the skin. Again, it's important that it's still wet because you want those coffee grinds to adhere to the latex. Again, we're going to leave this little guy here and go on to the next one. So now we have latex and cotton balls. Again, same procedure. You're going to be placing down one layer or so of latex, then putting on whatever you're going to be using. In this instance, it's cotton balls, and then doing one more layer of latex over that, and then you're going to let it dry. This is really the same process that you use for all these. It's just different types of things you can use. Now I'm going back into that coffee grinds, going to adhere it and really solidify all of that stuff, and now to start to create the hole. Very carefully, you can take a toothpick or something somewhat sharp to just try and break through a little bit so you get that hole. Now just very carefully start to expand it to the size that you want. Try not to pull it so hard that you break through and it fully comes off your face. It's okay if that happens. If it does, just place a little bit of latex on the bottom like I did here and move on. You're good to go. Next, we're going back to that dried now area with the toilet paper. I'm taking a tweezers just to start pulling again to create some more holes. I chose to do holes in all of these, but I wanted you to see the different textures of them as well. So I chose to do 2 holes in this one. So as you can see again, just very carefully pulling through and creating those holes. Again, if you pull too hard, just put another layer down and it'll look flat again. Next up is latex just by itself. All I did was do a couple layers, I think 4 layers, and let them dry. And now I'm going to start trying to do the same thing and poke 2 holes in my neck, almost like bite marks. Again, latex on its own is fantastic, but you can use any of these different tools with the coffee beans, with the cotton balls, or with the toilet paper to all create a very similar but different look with different textures. Now I'm just going over with a little bit of foundation just to kind of even it out, but it's okay. You're going to be covering it with a lot of colors anyway, so don't worry too much about that step. Now I'm going in back to that amazing eyeshadow palette from E.L.F. and just using the eyeshadow blending brush just to create some dimension and some grossness and just add all those darkness colors in just so it looks very infected, very gross, very rotting, everything that a zombie would naturally have. Naturally? There's nothing natural about a zombie. After you're done adding all the texture and colors that you want to those, we're going to go back to that one that we haven't touched yet, which is the cotton balls. This is the hardest to break through. I only used scissors because I knew how dense it was, but be very careful if you're going to do that. I just love the effect that the cotton ball makes because look how gross that looks. So much loose skin and just, can't even look at it. So now we're going to go in with a lip liner. This is just a red lip liner in the shade Red Blush from Essence Cosmetics. And you're just going to start to paint, or I guess naturally just draw in all the areas where it would be the flesh. Now this is optional because I decided to go in afterwards with blood, but it does have a nice effect to put the red first as the flesh on, then underneath the blood later. I wanted these to look even more infected, so I went back to that sponge from earlier, put some of that more lipstick on it, and really just started to buff those colors into the rotting flesh just to give it a little bit more of an irritated look. So do this until you feel as though it's as irritated as you'd like. Next, I chose to go in and do the eyes just a little bit. I honestly just took all the colors in the palette. I took the eyeshadow brush and I just buffed a lot of that color into the crease area and then brought it down in the lower lash line. There really wasn't a rhyme or reason to this. Just make your eyes look as smoky and as dead and zombie looking as you'd like. This does not have to be perfect and there's no technique really here. Honestly, you just place that shadow as much as you want until you get the desired look. Again, it does not have to be pretty. I also went in with that sponge and that lipstick just to create some more veins on the actual eyelid itself, and I liked how it came out. Next, I'm just going to prep the eyes for lashes. I did decide that because she was so gross, this little girl needed some lashes. So I'm just prepping those lashes with a little bit of mascara, and then I'm going to go in and put on these semi-natural ones. These are from Ardell. These are the 120 Demi lashes. Totally optional step, but I just felt like my bride, she should have some lashes. I did want to bring a little bit more depth to the eye, so I went directly into the waterline with a black eyeliner pencil from Essence and just placed that shade in there to really give it a little bit more depth. I really like the look that this gave afterwards. Now let's have some fun and make our own blood. I bet you guys already have these ingredients in your pantry. So it's very simple, very, very simple. All you're going to do is take corn syrup and cornstarch. You don't even have to measure it. Just put the corn syrup in a little bowl, and the cornstarch is going to really thicken it up, just like it does with normal food. Get it to the consistency that you like, and then go ahead and add some color to it. So you want to start off light. All you need is a little bit of red food coloring. At first, it was a little bit too light for me, but if that's the kind of blood that you're going for, go ahead and use it. So add a few more shades darker for this one, and then a little tiny one of blue. And I wanted to bring the blue just to bring it to that purple, really dark blood for the infected look. I love the shade that I ended up coming up with, and it's super easy to make, and that's it, you guys. That's how simple it is to make your own blood. Yes. So now we're taking a Q-tip and just putting these into all the infected areas. Again, this is why I said that the eyeliner was not totally necessary, because you are going to be going over it with this fake blood, but I like doing the touch of both of them. So I decided to put it inside the infected little area as well as the outside, just to kind of give it a grossness effect. Ugh, gosh, that's so hard to watch, isn't it? So I'm putting just some more blood into the infected areas, and then we'll move on to the next step. Lastly, we just want to make those lips look nice and light with some of that foundation again. Then we're going to go in with the eyeshadow palette that we've been using this entire tutorial and just place some of it all over the lips. No particular pattern, just to make them look nice and zombie-fied. Then I'm just going in and trying to make my hair look very greasy, which I didn't have to dry hard to do, and then teasing it just to give it that real gross, messed up zombie hair. I then added in my veil, which I got at Michael's, and this is overall a finished look. I decided to pop in some zombie contacts, but other than that, this is the final look, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you did like it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye! I did not think that one through. If you can even take me seriously with all of this. Ow.